Hello and welcome back to lesson 2 of this mini course on the short story 10 Minutes Musing by Alice Dunbar Nelson. If we haven't met, my name is Sarah Hosha-Coelho. I'm dual trained as an English literature teacher and also as an English as a second language teacher. And I love to combine the two to give a really good creative challenge for people that are learning English at the intermediate to advanced level. The short story that we are looking at, 10 Minutes Musing, is definitely an advanced story. If you are an intermediate learner, then I would recommend that you still give it a go. And no matter what level you're at, please know that the vocabulary will be quite challenging. Our goal in this vocabulary lesson is just to go through the most useful vocabulary that you need to know so that you will be able to get a good general grasp of the story when you read it at a first go. If you haven't looked at lesson number 1, I really recommend that you go back and look at lesson 1, where we go through a brief introduction to the life of the author and the context in which she was writing. And it's important to know that my intention in sharing her work is to honor her life and work as a Black female author who made an important contribution to the field of English literature. Okay, so all of that being said, let's jump in, let's look at these vocabulary words, and let's do it with an attitude that we are taking on quite a big challenge, but we're going to give it a go, okay? So the first word that it makes sense to look at is, of course, the word musing, which is found within the title, which means a period of reflection or thought. Okay, take a moment, pause the video, and record yourself speaking your response to this pre-reading question. What does the title, 10 Minutes Musing, make you think of? Let's jump into looking at the words that will come up in the story. So the first one we'll look at is the word intermission, which means a pause or a break, and it's a really formal word. So we often use it for the theatre or classical music concerts or opera, formal situations. For example, we went to the bar for a quick drink when the play had an intermission after the first act. It is also used for educational settings to show that there's a break from lessons. For example, the students run around in the playground during intermission. To peep, which is a verb, and it means to look quickly or secretively. So for example, I heard a noise in the street and peeped out of the window to see what it was. Melee, tough pronunciation, melee, means a big fight or a large crowd that has got out of control. It's very formal. Example, there were so many people in the town centre celebrating New Year's Eve that I got separated from my friends in the melee. Seething is an adjective that means very angry. For example, the parents were seething when their teenager took the car without permission. Mob, an angry or disorderly crowd. The mob were out of control during the riot as they smashed windows and stole things. To squirm means to wriggle or twist the body from side to side. For example, the little boy squirmed in his seat because he was bored. Okay. Azure just means bright blue. This example is a bit of a personal one. I can really feel it. In the grey Scottish winters, I dream of white beaches and azure skies. It's a little bit cold and grey outside. Anyway, next one, whipcord. Just means a tough kind of cord. You can see it in the picture. Mirthful means full of mirth or merry or cheerful, and this is a very formal word, and we would usually say full of mirth rather than mirthful. For example, the friends became full of mirth as they told funny stories to each other at the party. Cachinnation means very loud laughter. I honestly cannot remember ever using this word in my life. It's really an advanced word. It's good to know. I know the meaning of it, but I've never used it, so I wouldn't say it's really useful for you. Yeah, okay, moving on. To trample, a verb, and it just means to roughly or carelessly step on something. That could be either literally or it could be emotionally. You could trample on someone's heart. So for example, ow, you just trampled over my foot. So trample on or trample over. To deign, to do something that one considers to be beneath one's dignity. So the cat and the dog, let's look at what this example means, or the dogs rather, there's more than one. The cat won't deign to come when called. The dogs will come when called. Look at that cute face on that dog. He's like, yay, I'm so happy to make you happy and to come running when I hear my name. The cat on the left, he's like, no way. I hear you, but I'm not coming over there. I won't deign to do that. It's beneath me. I mean, not every cat is like this. I've had some cats that come running when you call their name. And I love cats and their level of independence. But this is just a great example because most cats will look at you and they'll have an expression like, are you crazy? I'm not coming over there just because you're calling me. I won't deign to do that. So it's a good example to hold on to in your mind that the cat won't deign to come when called. And also it reminds you that we use this in the negative. So the cat won't deign to come when called, but we wouldn't really say the dogs will deign to come when called. We don't use it in the positive like that. Diverse adjective. This is an archaic, and by archaic I mean old and no longer used, version of the modern word diverse. So diverse, of course, means many, various. Just like cachinnation, it doesn't change your life to know that, but as you're reading the story with me, at least you will know that this is not a typo. And a typo, of course, just means a typing error in spelling. Okay, moving on, perplexed is an adjective that just means completely baffled, very puzzled, confused. For example, I called him by the wrong name. No wonder he looked so perplexed. Vehement, most commonly used actually in the adverb form, which is vehemently. It means with strong feeling, forceful, passionate, or intense. So an example, the defendant vehemently claimed he was innocent in court. Analogy is a similarity or comparison. So for example, the year 2020 was a roller coaster. Analogous means comparable. So for example, the year 2020 is analogous or comparable to a roller coaster. because there were lots of ups and downs and so many unexpected things in that year. Not just means nothing. This is archaic, but it is still used in extremely formal circumstances in the UK. An example, in a business situation, the investment in redecorating the head office was all for naught as the company had to move. All for naught. It was all for nothing. Okay, maddening means extremely annoying. It is maddening to me when people drive too fast on the motorway. Ceaseless means constant and unending. For example, the ocean is ceaseless in the way that it moves as the tide is coming in and going out continually. Bauble, a small showy trinket or decoration. At Christmas, we hang beautiful shiny baubles on our Christmas tree. Non-entity, something not important or not interesting. Give you a little bit of a personal opinion example. It maddens me that politicians say that climate change is really important, but it feels like the moment that they win the election, it's almost as if for them, the topic suddenly becomes a political non-entity, and they end up doing what feels like nothing. Okay, moving on from my own opinions. Coveted means greatly desired or envied. Oh, this is another actually personal example because I really love watching the TV program British Bake Off with my family because we love to see who is going to win the coveted prize of Star Baker for that week. If you haven't seen British Bake Off, have a look. It is just a good way to waste your time if you're looking to relax and watch something that won't really tax your brain too much, but is kind of fun and innocent. Okay, Gradgrind. This is an allusion, i.e. reference, to a merciless, cruel businessman in Charles Dickens' novel Hard Times. So the name Gradgrind is sometimes used to signal someone who is being merciless or cold-hearted. Victor means winner. It's a really formal way of saying winner. So for example, the sports competition gave a prize to the victor of each race. Transitory, which means temporary. The emotions that you feel as you watch a movie are pretty transitory because 1 minute you might be laughing and the next minute you might be crying. Okay, I think this is the last one, savage, which means fierce, violent, uncontrolled. For example, I was scared to see a pack of wild and savage dogs roaming the street. We made it! We got to the end of all of those vocabulary words. That was no easy task, so just give yourself a pat on the back. We're not quite finished though. If you are up for it, then it's time for some speaking practice. Again, grab your phone and record yourself speaking your answer in as much detail as possible. Make sure to pause the video after the question so that you can do that. So, number 1, describe the last time that you were really seething. Can you think of something that you wouldn't deign to do? Which aspect of the English language leaves you the most perplexed? Describe a belief you would vehemently defend. And that's it. It would also be really great writing practice to leave your answer to one of those speaking prompts in the comment section. So I encourage you to have a go at doing that. And also just a reminder, if you would like to have access to a transcript of these lessons, as well as interactive quizzes, then you might like to check out my free resource library. The link is in the description. Thanks, and see you in the next lesson when we will be reading the story.